What's going on, boys and girls? I have not been on here for a while. I think my last video was pre-Atletico Madrid, and quite a bit has gone on since then. I don't really know where to start, but I think the absolute primary piece of conversation needs to be the fact that Man City have dropped points to Everton. That game kicked off at 5 a.m. Australia time, and there was no way I was going to get up and watch that because I was convinced that Man City were going to win and potentially win quite comfortably. So when I turned my phone on with 5 minutes to go and saw that Everton were winning 3-2, I stupidly opened up the laptop and decided to watch the last few minutes just to see the misery on those Man City faces. Lo and behold, Doku, with the last kick of the game, equalises for Man City. Look, I think at the end of the day, yes, them losing would have been a much better result for us, but the draw still puts us in a really strong position, guys. Like, it is completely in our hands now. If we can get past West Ham, we have one hand on that title. Now, a lot of people are talking like it's done now. I don't see it that way, and I don't think anyone can see it that way based on what Arsenal have done, particularly in these last few months. We've had so many opportunities to pull away from City. And to be honest, we should be Premier League champions right now. Off the back of that Everton draw, we should be Premier League champions right now. If we could have got a point at the Etihad, if we could have beaten Bournemouth at home, if we didn't drop a 2-0 lead at Wolves, there's so many moments in the last few months where if Arsenal would have just done their job and got over the line, we would be Premier League champions right now. And so it's because of that I can't sit here and say that we are absolutely guaranteed to beat West Ham, Burnley and Crystal Palace. But I do think out of those three fixtures, West Ham are the one team who have absolutely everything to play for. They are fighting to stay in this Premier League. So that'll be the most challenging fixture of the three. And I think if we can get past them and get a win there, then we are very, very, very close to finally doing it. Going back further, I want to touch on the Fulham game. I thought that was arguably our best, definitely our best 45 minutes of the season in terms of that first half. But in terms of overall performance, in terms of performance result, it just ticked all the boxes. I love the fact that Arteta changed up the starting 11 off the back of the 1-1 with Atletico Madrid. I love the fact Calafiori came in. I think he's definitely someone that just gives us so much more dynamism moving forward. And he's everywhere. He causes absolute havoc, and I love that. I was so happy to see Lewis Skelly give an opportunity in midfield. I think Zubimendi has been good this season. I think he's definitely dropped off in terms of performance levels between kind of January and now. But I really do put a lot of that down to exhaustion. I think he's just played so much football in what is an incredibly demanding league that I think he's just kind of he's playing on empty. But I do think he's picked up in the last couple of weeks. So but to see Lewis Skelly given the opportunity in midfield was so good, and I think he was arguably the best player on the day. I thought he did everything right. He was aggressive in the tackle. He won the ball back. He was getting past players. He was creating opportunities. He was constantly looking to find that forward-facing ball. And I just thought he was exceptional. Who else? Saka. That first 45 minutes from Saka is exactly what we've wanted from Saka all season. And a lot of people have got on Saka's back for not delivering this season. But I think we need to be honest. That guy has carried this club for years. And there's been a lot of injuries over the course of the last year and a half, and so all I want from Saka is to continue that level of performance from now into the end of the season, because if we have that type of Saka for the semi-final second leg and for the last three games in the Premier League as well as the Champions League final, we can do something pretty special, because that guy is he's the game changer. What else? I thought Trossard had a great match. I thought Trossard was on the way out. I thought his relationship with Arteta looked a bit soured. There were a couple of moments in the last few games where he's had where he's been brought into the game, and I've seen a little bit of a kind of confrontational back and forth with him and Arteta on the touchline, and I just got the impression that his kind of time at Arsenal was kind of coming to a fairly ugly end. So really happy to see him have that performance. I thought he was a little bit selfish in the first half in terms of there was opportunities where rather than going for the glory and getting the goal, he could have probably found a pass. But, you know, that assist to Gyökeres for the third goal right on half-time was brilliant. The big thing for me was the way we played, the way we started the game and that entire 45 minutes. I haven't seen us play with that level of intent, that level of speed and determination in a long time. It looked like a team who wanted to be on the front foot from the first minute and just overpower the team with their ability. And I just don't understand why we don't do more of that. And I know football's not this kind of like you just click your fingers and it happens, but that's the kind of football that we can play. We've got good enough players in this team, particularly at home, to just say, right, from the first whistle, we are going to be on you and we are going to play better football than you and we are going to be the more aggressive attacking team. So I love that first 45 minutes. The second 45 minutes was a tough one because I get what happened. At the end of the day, we've got a massive, massive second leg against Atletico Madrid coming up in a few days. So this was an opportunity at 3-0 at half-time to really kind of take the pressure off, make some changes, and just play within ourselves for 45 minutes to keep the tanks relatively full for that critical match. So I understood it. I do think we've maybe missed a small opportunity to increase that goal difference, but it is what it is. So really, really, really good result. Now all eyes on this second leg against Atletico Madrid. And look, going back to the first leg, it's a long time ago now. A lot has happened since that match. The one thing I'll say is, I think 1-1 is a good result. I think in the first leg of a Champions League, away, just don't lose. Bring it back to your place with everything to play for. I do think Atletico were kind of there for the taking. I thought it was a controlled, measured away performance. I thought we looked mature. The one thing I will say is that penalty has to stay as a penalty. Whether you think it's soft or not, the referee gave the penalty. The fact that VAR step in and get him to go to the monitor is just wrong. Because in my opinion, it's not a clear and obvious mistake. And then the fact that the ref then needs 12, 13 looks at it before making a decision to overturn it proves that it wasn't clear and obvious. So I thought that was a really poor decision from everyone within the refereeing circle, and I hope that doesn't cost us in the end. And I really hope that these Arsenal players, off the back of seeing City drop some points against Everton, can go into this with just if these players go into this with the confidence that they should have, I actually can see us. Maybe this is my heart speaking now, but I actually think that we can put a couple past Atletico Madrid. I just think the energy that's going to be in that stadium off the back of City's result against Everton is just going to be next level. The atmosphere was already going to be incredible in the fact that it's a second leg of a Champions League semi-final, an opportunity for us to get into a Champions League final for the first time since 2006. The energy, the atmosphere was going to be off the charts. But I think that result for City is just going to push it even further. And I just think the players are going to thrive off it. I think we're up for a really top performance from Arsenal. And I'm really interested to see what team Arteta goes for. A lot of people have been saying post-game that Lewis Skelly was so good that he's almost unlocked something within that Arsenal team. And a lot of people are calling for Lewis Skelly to start. And I've got to be honest, I wouldn't be against it. I think there's an argument for both sides. Some people are saying the control of Zubimendi, start with that and then maybe bring Lewis Skelly on if you need it. Or it's like go all out and kill them from the first minute and start with Lewis Skelly like we did against Fulham. And then if we need that control in the second half, bring in Zubimendi. I think you could go either way, but I do think at home we are the better team. I think we have the better players. I say go for the neck from the first minute. Just go into this game with a mentality of we're going to outscore you. We've got the better defense. We've got attacking players starting to come into some form with Gyökeres, Saka, Eze. Let's just go. Let's go get them. That's my mentality. So I think in terms of my starting 11, David Raya in goal. It's interesting that he played Ben White in the Premier League off the back of playing him in the Champions League. Makes me think, does he play him in the third leg? Because 3 games in a row for Ben White, given his kind of injury situation, you kind of think, you'd think if he was going to play against Atletico Madrid, he would have been rested against Fulham. So I'm not sure what he's going to do there. I think he will stick with Ben White. On the left, I think he will bring back in Nketiah. For as good as Calafiori was, I think he will bring Nketiah back in. Obviously, Gabriel and Saliba in the centre. And then in the midfield is where it gets interesting. I would personally go Rice, Lewis, Skelly. But I'm fairly certain he's going to go Zubimendi, Rice. Or maybe Rice, Zubimendi. In the 10, it has to be Eze. Odegaard didn't play on the weekend. He's obviously not at the level fitness-wise. I just think, unless he is absolutely kind of 90-95% ready, I don't think we need him to start. I'd rather see Eze in the 10. I'd happily keep Trossard on the left, but I also think Martinelli with Atletico Madrid, I think the tracking back and the work ethic of Martinelli is something that will go in his favour in this game. On the right, it has to be Saka. I'm sorry, but Madueke, for me, you saw the night and day difference between Madueke and Saka. This is the biggest game of this club's history in a long time, and Saka has to start. And then up front, it has to be Gyökeres. There is no other option. I know Havertz is kind of back in training, I think, as is Odegaard, but Havertz and Odegaard are on the bench for me. So that's my starting 11. As I said, this could well and truly be another cagey performance where one goal is the decider. But I think this Arsenal team, off the back of what they did against Fulham, off the back of seeing City slip up, I just think they'll come into this game. They're going to walk into, as I've said a few times now, an incredible atmosphere. And I do think they're going to stand up to that. And I think they might deliver a pretty special performance. So I'm actually going to go with, I want to say 2-0, but I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Arsenal. I can't believe we're at this point in the season. We are. I don't think I've actually comprehended how close we are to the finish line and just how unbelievably special this season could yet still prove to be. But at the exact same time, it could still prove to be all for nothing. And that's just, I don't know how to deal with that. Like on one side, I'm picturing us holding the Premier League. I'm picturing us potentially winning the Champions League all in one season. But then I'm also very aware of the possibility of us completely stuffing up the Premier League and the fact that in the final we're going to play either a PSG or Bayern Munich, who could tear us to shreds. So I just don't know where to go with it. I'm incredibly excited, and I just want the games to come now. Like if I could just watch them back to back to back, you'd have me. So yeah, I'm so excited for the game tomorrow morning. I believe that we're going to do what we need to do. So let me know in the comments. Starting 11, what do you think the score will be? Star players. I think for me, star players, I think Saka. I think that response to Saka's goal where he kind of went like that, I think he's a man on a mission between now and the end of the season. So I think Saka will have a top game. I think Eze will have something to say. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So it's a good time to be a Gooner. Let's hope we keep it up. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.